want you to know that every morning we sing the alma mater and we do the pledge every morning. And our students have learned it. They've learned both verses of it. This past Tuesday we had a pass the torch exercise where our seniors passed the leadership torch to the juniors, our rising seniors. And one of the things that I told them, and I tell them this often, and I know they might get tired of hearing it, but when we sing that alma mater, it really has a deep meaning, because in the first line it says, Plainfield, we revere thee. And we don't take those words lightly, because as I explained, thank you, there are many world scholars out there today, doctors, lawyers, engineers, judges, I could go on, and many of you are sitting in the audience today. So I always tell them that when you walk these halls, you walk with pride. And I also mention to them that there are many of our fellow students that have given their lives. They made the ultimate sacrifice for us in war, for us to enjoy these freedoms and these privileges that we have. So we encourage them to take it very seriously, and for the most part they are. But I am simply just delighted to have you here today and to look at your smiling faces and to say thank you for all the many, many wonderful things that you are doing in the world, and more importantly for our community and for our children right here in Plainfield. So having said that, welcome and congratulations to all of our honorees, and just enjoy the morning and the afternoon. Thank you for coming.
Okay, now for our invocation, we're going to have Arthur Lee Warren, who's a graduate of the Plainfield High School class of 1965, and he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2012, pastor of Warren Temple Church of the Living God. Thank you.
This time, you should please stand. Dear Father, we thank you today for this day that you have given us. Day that we have never seen or will see again. We thank you for this time, this place, for this event, for the alumni of Plainfield High School, those who will be inducted and those who have been. We thank you for how you have blessed this school, and we thank God for all that you have given us. As we look to the hills whence cometh our help, we thank you for all that you have granted us. As we look to you right now, who is the author and the finisher of our faith, we praise you, we magnify you, we give you all the glory. It belongs to you. Oh, we thank you right now. And we say, Father, we thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon each one today, as we give you all the glory. As we go through this ceremony today, we're going to look to you right now and thank you for what you have done, and by your grace we praise you for what you are going to do. As we say, to God be the glory, to God be the glory, and all that we say and do, we give it to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen, amen, amen. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen who may not know, Mr. Warren, don't go anywhere, Mr. Warren. You know you can't stop a pastor from moving. Mr. Warren is retiring this year after many years in the Woodbridge School District. And Mr. Warren, we want to salute you for your effort to build great young men and great young ladies. And on behalf of the Plainfield High School Alumni Association, and someone I'm going to get to sponsor this, we'd like to send you and your lovely wife to Giovanni's as our guests as a result of your retirement. So congratulations and Godspeed. Remember the first trip. Mr. and Mrs. Warren sponsor a scholarship. The way to a person's heart is through their stomach. Keep feeding them, we'll keep getting that money. Thank you.
Upstein Field for many years.
Kent Monfort wants to MC the award ceremony today. He has to remember the second trick. Don't go after the MC till you get your plaque. Yeah. Yes, I'm Charlene's brother. For those that want to know, we'll talk about that a little later today. But yes, our first award today goes to someone who I didn't know 2 years ago. And she has absolutely touched my heart, touched the heart of everyone on the committee. In the last 2 years, she has personally underwritten, in tribute to the class of '63, her graduating class, 10 scholarships for Plainfield High School students. Joanna Marshall, if you would please come up. I don't think you guys heard me. I'm a little hard of hearing. 10 scholarships. We need a little bit more applause. In 2012, and I'd just like to take this moment to digress for a second. In 2012, many of you know that we lost a longtime former educator who had retired from the district, Tiffany Corbett. So last year we presented the Plainfield High School Cardinals, plural, of the year to Mr. Corbett and his 2 children. Because as a result of Mrs. Corbett passing away on May 2nd, on June 23rd, last year, the family, in Tiffany's memory, underwrote 12 Plainfield High School scholarships. So a round of applause to Mrs. Corbett. This year, they presented some additional scholarships at the senior award ceremony and increased the value of the scholarships by 300%. Ladies and gentlemen, to run any organization, you have to have an understanding spouse, if you have a spouse, significant other. You have to have understanding children and grandchildren. I often talk to Mr. Pinone and Mr. Truitt at ungodly hours of the night, and Mr. Brown and the rest of the committee, and we just try to make a difference. Well, you know, it's just such a gift when one of your children don't rebel. And as they say, I'm not this age any longer, my road dog is Mr. Warren Cox. Please come up, Warren. And he is our future Plainfield Cardinal of the year. Together we do the sports information and go to plays and different events in the Plainfield Public Schools. And we actually cover about 100 events together per year. The rumor that I'm a single father is not true. My wife's just smart enough to stay away from the Plainfield High School Alumni Association. And Warren, because your Aunt Charlene and Aunt Andrea twisted my arms, there's also a $50 gift certificate to GameStop enclosed. We're real close to creating a deal. Warren does sports with me around the state, and we believe we're close to cutting a deal, and he may be the youngest sportscaster on regular TV before 2014. Mr. Lerone Talley, Plainfield High School alumnus, works for Wacoal America. And for the last 2 years, Mr. Talley is traveling today with his son for AAU basketball. But in the last 2 years, they have underwritten, they've been the main sponsor of the Plainfield High School Alumni Association, and he's personally underwritten 10 scholarships for Plainfield High School students. So in his absence, a round of applause to Mr. Brown and the rest of the committee for the efforts of Mr. Talley, who also provides equipment to our Lady Cardinals teams. Sometimes female athletes have difficulty being sized with equipment, and Mr. Talley for many years has provided sports equipment free of charge to the Lady Cardinal team. So another round of applause for Mr. Talley. Ladies and gentlemen, the first inductee under the non-alumnus, and you will be eating at 12 noon. You will be eating at 12. People are like, when is he going to be quiet? When are we eating? 12 noon, you will be eating. You'll be eating at 12 noon. Pastor, keep them off me, Pastor, keep them off. The first inductee is Frederick W. Cook, who posthumously is going into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame. For those who don't know, Frederick Cook was the longtime administrator in the district, and Cook School is named after him. His grandson, namesake, called me within the last 2 weeks to tell me that his grandson won a trip to Europe for 13 days. So I said, Mr. Cook, how's that work out for the family? He says, I'm underwriting the other 10 family members that are going on the trip. So he's not with us today. We will get this to him, and I'd like to present this to Andrea Key for Frederick Cook. Next up, to present his father into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame, Mr. Todd Hicks.
We're honored to accept our dad's induction to the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame. We would like to thank all of the family and friends attending today for all their support and love you continue to provide on this journey called life. Life is short. Enjoy family, work, success, and everything that comes with it, because our dad, Seth Hicks, did it. Let me tell you a little story about who Seth Hicks Sr. was. He scored 98 points in a basketball game at Albert Leonard Junior High School in New Rochelle in 1953. He was a parade All-American high school player, ranked one of the top 25 in the nation in 1957. Went on to play at Seton Hall for the legendary coach, Honey Russell. He was elected into the New Rochelle Hall of Fame as their all-time leading scorer. Scored over 2,000 points. Broke the color barrier. There was a classic called the Dixie Classic in North Carolina. At the time, it featured schools such as NC State, North Carolina, Duke, Cincinnati, Michigan State, and Seton Hall. So my father, our dad, paved the way in that classic, leading to that next year when names that you guys may be familiar with, such as Oscar Robinson and Johnny Greer, were able to join that classic. He was a basketball coach at Weequahic High School in Newark, alongside a great coach, Les Fine, who led them to back-to-back state championships in 1966 and 1967. Some of you from New Jersey may remember names such as Mo Layton and Dana Lewis. Actually, I'm named after Dana Lewis. And so he came to Plainfield in 1967, the basketball coach for Union County, first black basketball coach in Union County, as well as a physical education teacher. Our dad held several jobs over his 32 years at Plainfield High School: physical education teacher, driver's ed teacher, health education teacher, vice principal, and right when he passed, he was a grievance counselor. He was a loving husband and father of 3, myself, Seth Jr., and Kimberly Hicks, who's sitting there, who was elected to the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame 2 years ago. And my dad believed in Plainfield. He loved the students, loved the faculty, loved everything about it. He started the behind-the-wheel driver's education program here at Plainfield by getting cars from Queen City. Actually, there were 3 cars. There were 2 that were here at the high school and 1 that the Board of Education had. He believed so much that he convinced his wife, my mom, to teach here at Plainfield High School as well. So I think Martin had mentioned Mrs. Corbett. So my mom, when Mrs. Corbett went on maternity leave, that's who my mom substituted for as a teacher at Plainfield High School, as well as she was the cheerleader coach for Plainfield High School basketball for a couple of years. But my dad believed in Plainfield, believed in his students, believed so much that we grew up in Piscataway. He enrolled me in Plainfield High School. Even though I lived in Piscataway, I enrolled in Plainfield. My sister enrolled in Plainfield, went along to be, All-American in track, went on to Penn State. So he believed in PHS, and PHS believed in him. And those of you who knew our dad, he knew he would always make a grand entrance into the room. So, on behalf of the family, I'd just like to say, thank you for this induction to the Plainfield Hall of Fame, and, happy Father's Day.
Next up, I'm going to ask Ethel Coleman to come forward to say a few words on behalf of and induct Herb Green into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame.
Good evening or good afternoon. I'm a little nervous. I work with Herb Green, Plainfield Education. We sat at the table, we did grants for the children. We asked community members like Martin Cox to come in where we raised money to give him so he can go out and get supplies for the children in the vicinity of Plainfield. Herb was a wonderful person. He was funny. He was very serious. He just was a wonderful person. And I miss him dearly. I miss going to the meetings every month and sitting at the table with him and a couple other members also. His wife is here, and his son is also here. But you really had to get to know her like I did. Thank you.
Thank you. I did not prepare a speech or expect to be speaking to all of you, but we very much appreciate it. My father was a very special person that cared more about this community and the state of New Jersey and the children in it than anyone I know. He did whatever he could to help out, and this is an honor to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Probably at about 14 or 15 years old, I started going around the state with Herb Green. And I'm not sure the year, but there was something called GPS that was invented. He never used it, so sometimes you'd head towards Atlantic City to end up in Patterson. Long, long rides. But Herb was one of the greatest, and he really has been the unofficial consultant to board members in Plainfield for probably the last 25 plus years. Another round of applause for Herb Green. Next up, Mr. Jeffrey Truitt to induct Paul Pannone into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to nominate Paul J. Pannone, whom I have known for 29 years and worked with him for 29 years. And I can say that although Mr. Pannone retired a couple of years ago, he has stayed and he still helps out the debate team as well as the graduation committee. He's a co-chairperson of the Plainfield High School graduation committee as well. Paul started teaching here over 40 years ago, but he started off as a student teacher. He attended Ferry Dickinson University, and it was right in the middle of these, I will say, socioeconomic, demographic transitions and the social strife in the community. And I think, and thereafter, he was actually hired while he was still student teaching. And he had to actually finish up his education at Rutgers because he was already teaching. And he has been an extraordinary imprint on our district, whether it's Model Congress, whether it's, and some of the people, I think Leslie Ensign, right? Some of the people, I've heard so many stories about his trips to Europe. And of course, I had the opportunity to go to at least 6 European countries with Paul and his friends and family, and I'm honored to say that I know him. I'm honored to say that he's my best friend. So one thing about Paul is that sometimes people sometimes may underestimate him, and he's actually a very smart guy. Smarter than he would like to let people think. And sometimes, I know he doesn't want to hear this. Okay, I'm going to speak for just 45 more minutes. No, okay, but anyway, I am so honored to nominate Paul Pannone and I hope he still helps out with graduation as well as the debate team for the next 10, 20 more years. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Paul J. Pinone.
Well, Mr. Truitt, of course, stole some of my thunder. That's okay. I'm going to take you on a little trip down memory lane. Short trip. Okay. Jeff's right. 1969, I was a student teacher, Fairleigh Dickinson. I was assigned to Maxon. It was a junior high school, so I was assigned to 9th grade civics. There was unrest in the city, in the state, in the country, and a lot of teachers left. My cooperating teacher, his name was John Whiting at the time, was promoted to vice principal at the school. So they asked me if I would stay, keep the classes that I was student teaching from September to December, work as a long-term sub, and finish school at night. Usually you had to go to the you had to take your last 25 credits at the college that conferred the degree upon you, but they made an exception. I did finish at Rutgers, but got my degree from Fairleigh Dickinson. About 1972, they reconfigured Plainfield School District. They made Hubbard and Maxon middle schools, and they offered the 9th grade teachers the opportunity to come to the high school. I was loving Maxon, so I kind of let the principal make my decision for me. I do that a lot sometimes, let other things happen. So I came to the high school, met a whole lot of great people, Cy Marsh, a whole lot of great people, okay? Plainfield High School has always been my home. I've been here for 40 years, altogether 40, Mr. Truitt, just 40, okay? I taught U.S. history, I taught practical politics, I taught Leslie, and what happened was I ran into a person named Gloria Taylor. Gloria Taylor was moved from Hubbard to Plainfield High School, and she and I got to be friends. She decided we should have this course called Law and Politics. In order to teach this, I had to be trained in the course. So I learned my political science, I learned my law, and we created a program that had students assigned to agencies on local government and county government levels. So Plainfield City Hall, as well as the county offices in Elizabeth. So I spent half of my time teaching them history here and politics and law, and the other half of the time they were on duty. It was a 12 credit, it was a double course. 6 credits, I guess? 12, something like that. Okay, look at my notes. Throughout the years, I've been on many committees. I've interviewed a lot of people, worked with Otis Brown on the interview committees for jobs here at the high school, and I've had nothing but fun. It's always been an interesting experience for me. My first apartment was on Central Avenue in Plainfield. I lived here for a year or so as I was teaching, moved to New York City for a little while, Elizabeth for a little while. In 1979, moved into Plainfield onto Watchung Avenue into the house in which I still live. Being right in the middle of Plainfield was kind of interesting because I kind of like working outside, and I can't tell you how many times people have come by, Martin Cox, and stopped. Hey, Pinone, how you doing? And my first statement is, come on, help. I'm working out here. You want to talk? Let's talk. That shortened the visits a lot. Okay? I live in Plainfield. I love Plainfield. It is the city in which I love to be. Hurricane Sandy, we all remember that. I got to meet a whole lot of my neighbors waiting for that PS&G truck to come running down the street. So it's been quite an experience. If you understand Plainfield, you understand our connection, you understand that we enjoy what we do. I transitioned into the Historical Society. This is where I am now. I'm on the Board of Trustees of the Historical Society of Plainfield. We take care of the Drake House. And my last parting comments to you are you members? Have you paid your dues to the Historical Society? They are tax deductible. Don't forget that. Thanks for coming. I'm very proud to be here. Thank you.
Mr. Pinone, on behalf of the Plainfield High School Alumni Association, and apparently Leslie Anderson, who keeps getting more calls from the mic than anyone else. Just kidding, Leslie. Your security, can someone please remove Leslie Anderson from the primary seat at this event? We proudly induct you, Mr. Pannone, into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame for all you've done for our children. First, Mr. Pannone, if you graduate from one college while attending another, that's called academic fraud. That's first. Second, this is the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony, not the Historical Society. You get 200 people in a room, you can talk to them all you want, Pannone. Until then, leave us alone. Is Mr. Hub Stein. Hub Stein, which the field formerly known as Plainfield High School Field, Randolph Field, or Parker Field, depending upon what era you're from in Plainfield. The field was named after Hub Stein in approximately 1974, fall of 74. Hub Stein came from Westfield after spending 5 years there in athletics. And the story goes that Hub Stein came to Plainfield over a difference of $5 per year in his annual pay. $5 per year in his annual pay. So he came to Plainfield, where he spent 37 years. And quite honestly, the Hub Stein Athletic Complex is what it is today because of his efforts. He led two efforts that are renowned. One is, at a time when girls' athletics was intramurals, he really tried to make girls' athletics a part of the normal process of the educational day and program at schools across New Jersey. That he was rebutted at that. The second is, he actually was the first guy in New Jersey, and you can find this in the lore of the educational records in New Jersey, State Department of Education, to the Hicks family. He was the first guy who had a driver's ed course in the state of New Jersey. It was widely adopted, and it became the model across the state. Hub Stein also took the daring move to hire Marshall Brown as the first African-American staff member at Plainfield High School in 1953. It was unheard of. Then he went on, Marshall Brown was hired, and he led the track teams for 10 years, won 2 national titles, and this is as a result of Hub Stein making an effort and daring to do something different. Marshall won 2 national titles, 8 of 10 cross-country titles, at a time when African Americans didn't run cross-country on the high school level in the state of New Jersey in any great numbers, won 4 or 5 Group 4 titles, and sent hundreds of young people to historically black colleges and universities and other schools of higher education across the country. So today we salute Hub Stein posthumously. Unfortunately, his son, who's 95 plus, could not be with us today. Please keep his wife in your prayers. And this is the story that he asked me to tell before Charlene accepts the award on his behalf. Hub Stein played football, and they were playing against West Point. This is in your book. And West Point had what was the equivalent of Siler's Field as their football field back in 1916. Splintered bleachers. And his father didn't know much about athletics. So he continued to ask his son during the game. Hub was asked by his father, who's the fat guy on the end of the bench? Who's the fat guy on the end of the bench? There wasn't TV, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't Facebook, and Leslie Anderson hadn't been born yet. So the fat guy on the end of the bench was President Taft, all 340 pounds of him. So Hub Stein, posthumously, we induct you into the Hall of Fame, and Charlene will accept your award. I'm going to ask Mr. Pittis, Albert D. Pittis, to come forward to induct Carlisle Crane into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame.
I have been honored to present Carlisle Crane, class of 31, to the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame. A man of many parts and many accomplishments, as you can read from your program. I think that is sufficient. Meanwhile, we do have his son and daughter here who would also like to have a few words.
I want to thank you for honoring my dad. And hopefully the things I'm saying are not listed in the booklet, so it'll be something different. While growing up, I always felt very proud of my dad. I thought of him as honorable and very brave. Having a family during World War II, he was not eligible to be drafted into the service, but he felt that he should contribute to the war effort, so he joined the FBI. That meant that his family, though, had to move to different locations throughout the country, which is kind of a hardship in many ways. I was very proud that he had volunteered for such an organization. After the war, he again wanted to contribute to his community and to America. He served as mayor of Plainfield and as a state assemblyman. These positions at that time were demanding but not considered a career choice. He continued to work as a lawyer at the same time so he could support his family. As mayor of Plainfield, I believe he was paid about $100 a year. That was it. But that was okay because he was interested in serving and not having money. What impressed me most was his concern that people, no matter their status or their life in their life or their color, should be treated fairly. As mayor of Plainfield, he made sure that everyone had a fair chance of buying a home in Plainfield. As a lawyer, he was always helping those in need, even if they couldn't afford to pay. I also fondly remember him. He had a wonderful sense of humor and a wonderful love for life. It was infectious to all the people around him. Thank you very much again for honoring my dad.
So, Frank Meeks was a fighter for justice in Plainfield. He made a phenomenal impact upon the community. His widow asked us to share her thanks, but as we can all appreciate, it's sometimes difficult during the grieving process. We never know the day nor the hour of grief, let alone of someone's passing. So on behalf of the Plainfield High School Alumni Association Hall of Fame, we induct Frank Meeks into the Hall of Fame, and Andrea Key will accept his awards.
Humphrey Hall is my dad. I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud that he's being inducted today. And he's a man of many contributions to the community, many achievements, and we have many friends and family here that just got in from Iowa and Maryland, and we are very, very proud of him. We had people that had to leave early, come late, but we are still all here. My mother just had to leave for another event for my oldest son, but I wanted to say that they just celebrated their 55th wedding anniversary yesterday. We are so very happy about that. My father is amazing, and if you've lived in Plainfield for the last 50 plus years, you would know him. So without further ado, Humphrey Guilford Hall Jr., please come up.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to give honor to God, who is the son of my life, and my family, who's been in my corner for over 80 years. Hold applause down. I'd like to comment to my good friend Martin Cox. I knew him when he was kicking slats out of his crib. And I told him everything he knows, and he's done well. See, he had to get that before he got me. Anyway, it's been an honor being inducted to the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame. Had a great career with American Airlines, and I worked with these kids in Plainfield with Pop Warner and karate. And I think it's very important that we get with our kids, because a good friend of mine, Henry Forster, said to raise children, it's like a village. And with all the trials and tribulations that our kids are going through nowadays, we need to really stay connected with them. Okay. I just want to touch on my airline career for a minute. I got a job at American Airlines back in the day, and I wanted to be a pilot. But they looked at me in 1961 and said, "I know pilots up here." So I became a mechanic. And then I progressed to be the first Afro-American maintenance crew chief at Newark Airport. And even with that, just a scenario of my career. Planes would come in, they would call in. It went like this. Newark maintenance, this is flight 205 inbound from Chicago on our way to San Juan, Puerto Rico. I said, okay, Cap, it's up. Yeah, well, I have multiple pilot complaints. All right, I'll see you at the gate. Plane comes in, I get my key in the cockpit. I go in the cockpit, the captain says, hey, Joe, do we need a window screen? I said, sir, I'm the same guy you spoke to over the phone. Oh, well, in that case, I said, hold, is the item in the book? Yeah, you're dead. Once you write the item in the book, it's got to be fixed. It got so bad that I had a bunch of business cards printed from Motel 6. And when I got up in the cockpit, they gave me a hard time. I said, Captain, where's your car parked? Well, by God, it better be parked at the Dallas-Fort Worth parking lot. I said, Captain, this is what you do. This is a card from Motel 6. I said, yeah, you will not see your car tonight. And then from that point on, we started networking. I had no choice, really. I was a man. But, you know, it was a great career, and I'm blessed to have survived 37 years and retired. And I'm blessed. My wife, she caught it. So I would come home at night, get these airplanes out of here, boom! I've been beating her up in bed. She says, when are you going to retire? But you know, I'm blessed to have a great career, blessed to have great family and great friends. And again, thank you for inducting me in the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame. And it looks like I'm running out of time, but here's Martin.
Mr. Hall, great speech. I'll use some of it in the next public event I do. Mr. Hall, on behalf of the Plainfield High School Alumni Association, we proudly induct you into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame. And Mr. Hall, one correction, we are absolutely not friends. Just kidding, y'all, just kidding. Mr. Hall has made a difference in the lives of our children, especially in the area of youth sports in the city of Plainfield for over 30 years. Natalie Robbins, PHS class of 1956, is a renowned author who's authored numerous books. She's unfortunately traveling in California today for a book signing. And here to accept her award is the individual who nominated her, Joanna Marshall.
I'm very sorry that Natalie couldn't be here because I think she would have enjoyed this very much. One thing that you have to understand about a person who writes non-fiction books, which is what Natalie does, is that you have to do your research. You have to learn what the facts are, and you have to tell the truth. Isn't that a novel idea? Do you think we could tell it to Washington? Thank you very much.
And again, a round of applause for Joanna, who has personally underwritten 10 Plainfield High School Alumni Association scholarships. Naismith is a renowned AIDS activist who travels the world in an effort to eliminate the horrendous disease and to educate individuals. Gus is also the grandson of F.W. Cook. So it's been intriguing. Gus was unable to be with us today, but to accept his award as someone who also works with AIDS patients, we're going to ask Mr. Charlie Cole, PHS class of 1979, to accept the award on Gus's behalf.
Good afternoon, everyone. In accepting this award for Gus Naismith, he is a true advocate for the people who are diagnosed with HIV and AIDS. Currently, I work for the City of New York, City of New York Housing Program, which assists clients with housing, food, stamps, medical benefits, and various other advocacy programs for people with HIV and AIDS. The first time I came across a client was back in 1986, working as a case manager with Dyke's in Newark. I went to the client's home and refused to go in. It was due to my ignorance about people who have HIV and AIDS. I went home and discussed it with my former wife, and how ignorant we were at the time. We decided that we would die together if that was the cause. This shows you how far we have come and how far we have to go with helping people who are HIV positive and AIDS positive. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and congratulations to all of you.
Giovanna's is named after Giovanna Caruso, PHS class of 1956. The restaurant just celebrated its 30th anniversary in business. They, of course, are the official caterer of the Plainfield High School Alumni Association. Giovanna's restaurant will accept the award on her behalf.
Jenny and Connor have been in Plainfield, born in Plainfield. They opened up a couple of businesses. They're still here after 50 years. And I just want to say thank you, Plainfield. Thank you, everybody.
It's an honor to be here tonight, and it's an honor to have two brothers who are being inducted today. If you look at the inductees, you're going to see a Bruce Young, and you're going to see a Randy Young. One is paternal and one is paternal. And I'd just like to give you guys peace and blessings because you truly deserve it. And without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my other brother.
Good afternoon, folks. My name is Vance Young, and I'm an alumni from the class of 1973, Plainfield High School. And I just wanted to say thank you all for Martin, #1, for nominating or having my brother inducted into the Hall of Fame. He is very deserving of the award. He's my older brother, and so as a result, I've looked up to him all my life. And so him going into this Hall of Fame and being honored in this way is truly a blessed event for our family. And we just thank you very much for the honor of this award. So Bruce, without further ado, come on up. My name is Bruce Young, and I'm a product of the Plainfield Public Schools. I am a graduate of the class of 1970 from Plainfield High School. So I never attended this building. I was in the old high school, so it's a little different then. All right. But for the past 17 years, my wife Gail and our two daughters have lived in Overland Park, Kansas, a suburb of Kansas City. I'm honored to be here as a recipient of the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame. And I want to thank those who nominated me, my brothers Barry and Vance, and to the committee for selecting me. For the past 13 years, myself and my business partner have what I consider a small business performance packaging group, where we employ from about 150 to 200 employees. We are a combination fulfillment and staffing company. Our customers are manufacturers that use our staff and warehouse facility to store, inspect, assemble, and ship their product. Our services allow our customers to focus on their core business directives while we manage their product. When I was notified that I would be inducted into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame, I personally didn't think that my business accomplishments deserved that type of recognition until I thought it's really not about me, but it's about the scholarship recipients here. And there are a few things I wanted to let them know that I wanted them to realize that coming out of Plainfield High School, you can do anything you want to do. Amen. You might not need to find a job after you complete your education. Maybe you can create your job, or 2 jobs, or 1,000 jobs. Some of the advice I pass on to people who ask me about starting a business is, one thing is I recommend start your journey for self-employment when you're young. You push both physically and mentally. Next, I recommend that they find a way to fund your business with the least amount of financing and let your sales dictate the growth of your business. And the third is you will need to have a talent, a skill, and a great deal of knowledge about the field of business you choose. Try to get as much education as you can get and surround yourself with good mentors and have experienced mentors that can give you knowledge about the business you choose to do. And finally, lastly, if being in business were easy, everyone would be doing it. It is challenging, but it can be rewarding. And thank you very much for nominating me. Thank you very much.
Bruce, on behalf of the Plainfield High School Alumni Association, we proudly induct you into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame for your expertise in the area of business. Love those modest guys, 150 to 200 jobs, he's got a small business. Bruce, we want to review your P&L. Linda Milligan Foster, PHS class of 1971, is being inducted in the area of business. She is a wealth management executive, and unfortunately for this body, her son is being married today in Rhode Island. So the choice was the PHS Hall of Fame, which all of you would have chosen, and her son's wedding, which she chose. So we'll have to talk to her about priorities before we ship this to her. But Andrea Key will accept Linda Milligan Foster's induction into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame. And 2 notes. Her dad was Doc Milligan, who's still alive. He was the 40-plus year doctor for the Plainfield Public Schools, if any of you remember Doc Milligan. He's still residing in Union County. And her brother, Bob Milligan, is the only athlete in Plainfield history. He was an All-American swimmer, All-State in golf, and All-State quarterback. So they're a very talented family. Andrea, if you would accept this award.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ernest Bennett. I'm the proud son of the wonderful Tracy Bennett. I'm very proud of my mother today. 3 words that would describe my mother would be strong, loving, and most of all, phenomenal. And I'm very happy to be her son. And some of the things I'm just proud of my mother for, as I'm reading this booklet, it says, in 1986, Miss Bennett passed the state exam, making her the first African-American female certified as a tax assessor in the state of New Jersey. But you know, while it's nice to have achievements and it's nice to gain titles, it's good when people don't forget where they come from and lend a helping hand, just as those have lent a helping hand to my mother. And one of the things I'm very proud of, it says, in appreciation for the program that gave her the opportunity to work for the city, each year Ms. Bennett is a mentor for the Summer Youth Employment Program. Her office is a site for participants to work and learn about city government. And here's the key here. Most of her civic activities involve children, which is intentional. So that shows the love that my mother has for the city of Plainfield, the community, and most of all, the children. So I'm really proud of you for that, mother. I'm happy that I am your son. You truly have been a great mother To all of us, me, Jeremiah, and Jacinta, and you truly are a great grandmother, and it is my honor to please present you the award to induct you to the Plainfield Hall of Fame.
Thank you, sweetheart. I first want to say hello, everyone. So nice to see you all here today. I have to first thank Mr. Martin Cox, my friend for over 35 years. Martin and I graduated from Plainfield High School in 1979. We're very proud of that. We realized yesterday marked the 34th year I was graduating from Plainfield High School, and I'm just happy to be here today. I also want to thank the rest of the committee, Andrea Keys and the other members. You all did a phenomenal job today. Also want to definitely thank Giovanni's, my favorite restaurant, and they know that, and I love you all for being here today, as well as the Otis Brown Ensemble. They sounded wonderful. I also want to say congratulations to the rest of the class of 2013. Ms. Pinone, did you think we were going to be in a class together? Right, Tamika? We talked about that. I have been the assessor for Plainfield for 25 years. And I absolutely love what I do for a living. I love the people here. They allow me into their homes. I see some people here whose homes I've actually been in. And I don't take that lightly. You know, it takes a lot of trust for people to do that. And so I've worked with a lot of mayors, a lot of administration, starting with Rick Taylor, who appointed me as assessor, and I always appreciated that. And I hope by the way that I have handled myself in my job, that it shows that I appreciate working for the city of Plainfield. It's a beautiful community. I was born and raised here, and I'm happy about that. I also want to just a quick story about when I passed the test. I had the results mailed to my parents' home. And if you knew my dad, we lost my dad last year. My mom wasn't able to be here today, but we lost my father last year. But my father was one that, he worked hard, he taught us that, and he wasn't one to do too much hugging and kissing, but you knew that he loved you. And I told him, I said, Dad, if the envelope comes and it's flat, that means I passed. And if it's a little thick, that means here's another application, try it again. So when I got to his house that day, my dad just grabbed me and jumped up and down, you passed, you passed. And I never forgot that because I'm like, who is this man? But it just showed you that he was really proud of me. And I just want to tell you parents, always let your kids know that you're proud of what they do, that you love them. And that's why I like to work with the kids, because to see what they do, what they can do. And they just need some time for us to just let them know that we care and we love them. So I just encourage us all to help the kids. And here's a plug, Martin. Leslie Anderson came to me and said, Trace, can you be on the board for New Horizons College Club? And Leslie knows I love her. Anything she asks, I'm doing it, so I'm in. So I have been a board member and I absolutely love it. You should come sometime to the banquet and see what these kids achieve. They are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I have to thank my brother, Calvin Lanier, for nominating me. It's always very heartwarming to know that your siblings are proud of you. So thank you, my dear brother. I also want to thank my lovely family and friends for being here, and my family know they're my friends, and my friends know they're my family. So thank you all for being here. Especially want to say thank you to my children. You already met Ernie. I have Jacinta and Jeremiah, but I also have my son, Miguel, my daughter, Jennifer, and my special daughter, Tahira. And as the program says, my loves of my life, my grandkids, Javon and Miguel. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you all for being here, and I'm very proud to be a Cardinal. Thank
you. Mr. Kenny Fields, pound for pound, the greatest basketball player in the history of Plainfield High School, who's under 6'4", because Leon Carney, 1976, is beyond the shadow of a doubt the greatest basketball player in Plainfield High School history. Mr. Kenny Fields.
Well, Martin, I don't agree with that. I think Randy is the best basketball player that Plainfield High School has ever had. Randy won't take any credit for anything. I had to beg him to do this. Martin had to call me in Georgia and say, Kenneth, I'm sick of this. Am I lying?
Stop it!
Okay. Randy, I mean, everybody know of Randy Young and what he's done for the Plainfield High School. Me and Martin, we have to have a conversation about these records. But I don't know anybody that started their first game in high school during the season, came out of 8th grade and started the first game at Plainfield High School football. Played every game, never got hurt. Then he came basketball season, first game started, never got hurt. I don't remember a game that Randy never got under 10 rebounds. Most of the time he had 20. So I can talk all day, let me stop. I want to bring up Randy Young, and I congratulate you, Randy, and you just keep being who you are and never change for anybody. Come on, my best friend, Randy Young.
Good afternoon to everyone. All Plainfield people that's been here, that's moved away and coming back. Me being up here is really what you all have done for me. Everybody here has been involved, and me being, when I came in as a freshman, everyone's given me good advice, everyone's helped me along, so I see this award that I'm getting as an award for all of us. I still work here at Plainfield High School as a security officer, and I get to interact with our children every day. And I tend to see the good in all our children. And everything everybody still does is still working, because we have a lot of great kids coming out of Plainfield, and we'll be continuing coming out of Plainfield. But thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, what Plainfield is unique for is its relationships. You will see the banter between individuals not because of competition, but because of love. And love is the key. I don't know what year I met Leslie. I don't know if we were in the crib, as Mr. Hall said, and I was kicking the sides out. I don't think we've known each other that long, Mr. Hall. But I will tell you this, and I hope they edit it out of the tape. Leslie graduated, as did Kent, in the class of 1981. Down up front, down up front. And I run the Alumni Association, I underwrite it, but I have to admit this to Leslie, it'll be the only day I ever say it. There are more members of the class of 1981 in the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame than there are of the class of 1979. We will not be repeating this. Leslie, please come forward to induct your classmate, Mr. Kent Mumford, into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame.
So I must say, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. Ken is very nervous right now. We've known each other for 42 years, Mumford. We met in the 3rd grade at Cedarbrook School. We went to Europe. Mr. James, I'm sure every gray hair that you have was because of the class of 1981. But what's interesting about Kent Mumford is the person you know today was the person that I met in the 3rd grade. You can read about his career in law enforcement, and I don't think it was a surprise to anyone when he embarked on a career in law enforcement. At a time when young people were irresponsible, careless, and cavalier, Kent was always the voice of reason in the room. Mr. Pannone, I have to say this to you. I'm sorry, Kent, it's just one story. When we snuck out of the hotel in England, come on, Pannone, it's 30 years later. Kent said, don't do it. We told Kent he had to go because we were going to kill him if he stayed. Kent Mumford is the consummate friend. He's the consummate professional. He is an absolute wonderful person to know and have in your corner. I just saw a story on Good Morning America about 3 weeks ago about bullying. We didn't really know what bullying was when we were in high school. We just knew sometimes that people weren't nice to other people. Kent was an advocate to stop bullying before we even knew what it was. Words cannot express how wonderful this gentleman is. Kent, to become truly great, one has to stand with people and not above them. For your entire life, you've always stood with the people. Whether you rode your bike through the city of Plainfield, I was gonna get it all in, Ms. Mumford. Whether you rode your bike through the city of Plainfield, whether you were on the sports field in football, track, or wrestling, you've always stood with the people. And as we all come together to celebrate, and I'm sorry I forgot to say this, I'm a product of the Plainfield Public School System. Yes. I'm a proud 1981 graduate of Plainfield High School. Most of us are turning 50 this year, and we've been I'm not shushing. You know why I don't shush that? Because a lot of my classmates are not here. They missed the 10-year reunion, they missed the 15, they missed the 20, and they missed the 25. And Merlene, I'm just gonna say this to you. 50 is the new 30, girl. So as we celebrate our reunion, I want to celebrate my friend and my brother, Kent Mofford. And it is my honor to join everyone in this room as you are inducted into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame, class of 2013. Kent Mofford.
I'm gonna give you a hug. No, in all honesty, I like to thank Leslie Anderson, and she's right. I never gave her a hug growing up. She always asked me for a hug as your brother, and I never did, so that's my year. And next, I'd like to thank Martin Cox and the committee, because without Martin Cox and the committee, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having this. I think he actually started it, correct, Martin? So we thank you. You do a great job. You not only do a great job with this, but you do a great job with helping us remember and keep the tradition and the history of Plainfield High School. And everyone knows, I don't say much, but I love Plainfield. I love Plainfield High School. My wife and I go out places, and the first thing people ask me, where are you from? I said, I'm from Plainfield, New Jersey. And my wife goes, I think they mean where you live. Nah, that's where I was from. You know, before I start, I'm not going to be long, but before I start, you know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, Plainfield and Plainfield Board of Education, Plainfield School System was my village. And I'm up here to say thank you to Martin, the committee, but I also want to give thanks to a few people because they helped me become the young man that I am today. And I want to start, I didn't know she was going to be here, but I got to say this. Miss Stimbridge from Bergen Street. My mother and I lived 2 doors down, and Miss Stimbridge had the biggest family on the block. And second, I think next to the Harris, the second biggest family on the block. And at that time, it was just my mother and myself living in the house. I had no brothers or sisters by my mother, but it was just us in the house. And I would go to their house just about every night during the summer and sit in between Mr. Stimbridge and Miss Stimbridge as if I was one of their children. They allowed me to do that. So it truly takes a village to raise a child. And Miss Stimbridge and Mr. Stimbridge, thank you. I really appreciate it. So at this time, I just want to acknowledge some of the people and actually give thanks to the people, again, who helped me become who I am today. First, my mom and my father, because my mother, I used to get notes home from school, I think from the 1st to about the 4th grade, I guess, something like that. And like, Mom, you're not going to tell Dad when he comes by, right? And she would say, no, I'm not. I was like, good. I'm outside, and I knew it was time. It was 4:30 or 5 o'clock. My father would get off work. I could do it like clockwork. And she told him. And believe me, just talking about it now, I can feel it. But in all honesty, I'm gonna tell you something. You know, my parents were divorced, but a lot of people didn't really know that because my father and my mother were very involved in my life. And for that, I appreciate both of them. Next, Mr. Roach. I know a lot of you who played baseball remember Mr. Roach that lived off of 3rd Street. I forgot the side street, but he was my baseball coach. And just to show you, I couldn't hit. I couldn't hit, I couldn't feel. And like Leslie said, I still can't dance. You're right.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You used to say that all the time, but anyway, that's true. But Mr. Roach took the time after practice, Little League practice, volunteer man, volunteer coach, took the time, got me against the wall at Cedarbrook School. Remember, we had the big field out there with the X, the box on the wall with the X in the middle. He took the time and showed me how to hit. You know, he gave me something that I cherish today. When I played baseball, I remember he said, "Mumford, choke up on the bat." I still choke up on the bat when I swing, and I connect. I remember the first game, I hit the ball. The first game, I'm standing there like this, and he's like, "Boy, run!" So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Roach. He's no longer with us, but believe me, I remember him all the time. Next is Mr. Paul Scott, who was my first football coach in the Sportsman League up on the East End. You're right, I used to ride my bike all up and down the West End and East End. Everybody knew me from town. They didn't know where I lived, but they all knew me. But he was my first coach, and he actually taught me the basics of football, the basics of the game, and just taught me how you have to prepare and practice to do certain things in this game. Because of him, I thought I was a pretty decent football player. Not the greatest, not a Kenny Fields or a Randy Young, but I held my own out there. And for that, I appreciate Mr. Scott. Next, as I went to the 6th grade and met Mr. Arthur Burson, the math teacher. Those who went to other school or didn't play sports, remember Mr. Burson. He's no longer with us, but he was a good man, a really good man. He took the time, not only as a football coach, but he knew how much I loved this town and how much I wanted to go to those basketball games during basketball season. Man didn't have to pick me up at my house. He lived way on the East End. Every day, or every time it was a game during basketball season in Mumford, "You want to go to the game tonight?" I said, "Sure." He said, "I'll pick you up." And sure enough, like clockwork, he would be there to take me to the game. So he took time with me. He took a lot of time with me. That special touch. Next, somebody, and who in this room that hasn't gone to the football field? Big Frank Guy. You know, I had dinner with his son, Marky, and his grandson a couple of weeks ago. And Frank used to say, "I'm just a custodian. I only went to this level grade in school." But let me tell you something. That man was more educated than most educators in the school system, period. I mean, he just had that knack with kids and people. And he just took the time out to say the right words. And one thing he used to tell me, do it right the first time, you won't have to do it over. And your name is important. And that's something I took from him. And I really appreciate the daughter's right here, and she knows how I feel about him. You know, I feel deep feelings for that man because he took the time out. And he did. Not just for me, but everyone. You know, people used to say, "You the only dude that rides the tractor up here at the field. Nobody else would get on the tractor," but I would, because that's the type of relationship we had. And for that, I appreciate him. And you're right. If you come past my house or my mother's house and you look at the grass, that's Big Frank right there. Next was Mr. Casson. Mr. Casson was a division of recreation wrestling coach. And the reason why I just have to mention him, he taught us, you know, coming from Plainfield, you know, we had these traditional sports that we did. Basketball, football, track. And he told me, wrestling, try something different. He played tennis, paddleball, and wrestling. And just for you that don't know, he was a 2-time state champion in wrestling. So I'm getting rushed off, but let me get 2 more things. I gotta say this to people.
1.5.
All right. But anyway, make a long story short, he told me, "Hey, try different things. Don't move out of your comfort zone." For that, I appreciate that from him. Coach T. A lot of people didn't like him, but I liked him because he had something to give. And what he gave me was, taught me discipline, self-esteem, and pride. Pride in yourself. And some of the words, some of the things he said, I can't say in this room because we have children. But he also said doubt. Doubt is a key tool of the devil. Don't doubt yourself. Fear. Fear makes cowards of us all. Remember that, right? And you know that song when we walked down the road or after a game and we did what we had to do? We sang that song. We came, we saw, we conquered. And that's just how I approach my job. Other is Mr. Ron Upperman. Ron Upperman was a quiet man, very quiet coach. But he prepared his runners. He knew his sport. He knew his craft. And what he taught me, you don't have to hoop and holler to be effective. And the people that know Mr. Up, when you know he got pissed off, he didn't cuss, he didn't say foul words, he just twisted that mustache like And for that, and I give you an example, because of Upperman, what he's done for me, I don't have to be this rah-rah type guy, which I'm not, but this is who I am. And a couple examples is with Mr. Upperman, he has a couple coaches, kids that ran for him are now coaches. And I'm not talking about just mediocre coaches. He's got one who's got a program out in Franklin Township, and he was one of the top track coaches in the state, and that's Darrell Hillman. One more thing. I'm going to skip over. I got to say this, Martin, and you know it. Let me just do this one. This one is a Hall of Fame member, Kevin John Bowie. And we all knew who Kevin was, so you got to let me finish this one. Kevin Bowie is a member of the class of 75. He was an All-American, academic All-American in football. Came in number 2 in the class of 1975. Kevin didn't know me from a can of paint. But in the 6th grade, as a 6th grader, and at my football dinner, Sportsman League football dinner, Kevin spoke. And some of the things they said before he came to the podium really intrigued me and caught my attention. And when he spoke and he finished speaking, I said, I want to follow in his footsteps. Yes, he was an All-American academic, All-American, straight A student. I attempted that. Didn't get close, but I got close enough. But what he really taught you is citizenship, pride, and just carry yourself. Carry yourself as if, and he didn't know it, but this is what I took from him. Carry yourself as if some young man, some young woman is looking up to you because they are. So today, that's how I carry myself. Just like Leslie said, I didn't follow the crowd. I did my own thing, but I tried to do my thing that was positive. So as I leave you with this, I said earlier, it takes a village to raise a child. It truly does. So I thank the village of Plainfield and the Board of Education of Plainfield for what they've done for me, because without them, I would not be doing what I do now. And believe me, I've seen a lot, I've gone a lot of places, and done a lot of things. So with that, I thank you for this, Martin, but for the most part, I really want to thank the villagers of Plainfield and the villagers of Plainfield High School and the Board of Education. And for that, I thank you. Thank you very much.
I've known Kent over 30 years. He spoke more today than he spoke in the last 30 years. Come on. I'm not sure what's up with that. But Mrs. Mumford, he probably won't talk to you for the next 14 years. On a serious tip, I've been blessed, as you guys know, to participate in some presidential politics on both sides of the aisle. And I will tell you this, that the most professional person who's participated in the protection of the United States President and other high-ranking officials that I've ever come across in my life is Mr. Kent Mumford. My hat is off to him.
I tell you, we are just so proud to be here today. Not only for our sister, praise God, but for all of the other inductees as well. We're just beaming with pride today. Brother Young, Brother Fields, you may want to know that when it came to the legacy of basketball here in Plainfield, if I could just digress and talk about other folks for a minute, our coach would say, hey, you better get up and box out and get that board like Kenny and like Randy would do. When you talk about the legacy, these are things that stay with you. My brother played football, blocked for Darryl Kennedy. I'm just so happy to see all the people that are filled in this book. But let me jump to sister. We're so happy. We went to Evergreen Elementary, then to Maxon, then to the high school. We grew up on Carnegie Avenue. Mom is still at the house on Carnegie. Anybody you know about Plainfield, in order to get to the high school, Carnegie was one of the main streets that everybody had to go through Carnegie Avenue to get to the high school. And when we were coming up, these things don't happen now because you got the video games and what have you, but street football, we all played street football. Handball, not necessarily handball, I don't even know what you call it when you throw a tennis ball up against the wall. And whoever got the tennis, whoever jumped up and grabbed it, you're the next person. What was that? All right, now we know about these things. Renetta was the cheerleader for everything that went on when it came to that type of thing. Renetta got out in '86, I got out in '88, DeVelle was '89, so we were all together all of the time. My younger brother, the love child, he 2000. So it was the three of us, then it was Micah. My point is, we wouldn't be who we are today if it weren't for Renetta. When you grew up in Plainfield, if you didn't have the support of friends and of family, you might have got your head smacked. And it wasn't, the one thing, you grew up in Plainfield, you learned to mind your business and be honest with people, straight up with people, because that was what Plainfield was about. And someone talked about the old building, one of the senior people. I remember when we would walk through, they changed it, became the freshman building. And you would be so nervous coming from the freshman building over to this main campus here. And if you didn't know somebody who would holler at you as you walked through, boy, you were so nervous, so we would be so happy to see Renetta. And Renetta would, because it was a blessing and a curse to grow up with Renetta. The blessing is you had some good-looking young ladies who were all Renetta's friends. They would be at the house. A lot of advantages there, of course. That curse, you go into that classroom and say, hey, Garrison, Renetta got an A. What are you doing? Renetta was Mrs. Plainfield growing up, and we love her. We are just so happy that she was nominated. Now, little brother set us up. He was supposed to be here to give the introduction, but he may just walk through this door any minute knowing him. That's just how he does right there. So, but we are just so happy. Renetta was the loudest cheerleader, pep, rally person. We would go to games, and back then, if you went to a basketball game, the line would be out the door. Yeah. You could not get a seat. That's right. Same thing with our football games, but especially basketball, maybe because it was inside. I had to step in when I came in and look at the banners and see what was going on. And I ran into Justin, and you know, he's over there now. It just feels so good to be here. And the funny thing is, everything seemed so big when we were here. Now you come through, right? You say, wow, this cafeteria was huge. But it's just so good to be here. We're just so happy that Renetta was inducted, and she represents for all of us. One of her greatest attributes is how humble she is. I tell you, she could have filled this program up with her accomplishments had she done it all. But you'll never hear that type of thing from Renetta. So we're just so proud, and I would like to bring her up now.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's certainly my pleasure to be here and to be introduced by my brothers. And as they said, we were here in school together, and so that was really something that was special, particularly in the 1980s. I'd like to thank Mr. Cox and all of the members of the committee. Thank you to all of you who've come out. Congratulations to all of the inductees. I do have a few prepared remarks, so please bear with me as I go through them. I'm just really happy to be here. So I wanted to say, first of all, what an honor it is to be here and to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And again, I extend a very hearty and a humble thank you to all the people who supported my nomination. I'd like to thank my parents, my mom, Mrs. Patricia Garrison, and my dad, the late George C. Garrison. They pushed for excellence at home and have always been strong supporters of public education. My mom was always the one cheering loudly at assemblies, and so anyone who was ever in class with me, you know, and people would say, "Oh, Renetta, there's your mom, she's cheering for you," whether it was in the balcony or on the floor. My dad, tall and strong, would just stand and nod with a quiet smile. And so happy Father's Day to him. He's gone on to heaven, and we are going to be giving a small book scholarship in his name to a 2013 graduate who's going to go into science, technology, engineering, and math. So we have that. I'd like for my mom to stand along with others who have come with their families. I have many family members and friends, people from church, etc., who've come to support me on this occasion. So family and friends, can you please stand? I have something I'd like to say to you. To my family and friends, thank you for your unwavering support over the years. You encouraged me while I was little. You supported me throughout my years in Plainfield, my undergraduate years at Howard University, grad school at Northwestern, and throughout my career as I now work in academia. Thank you so much for all of your support throughout the years. Thank you. I'd like to thank my husband, Dr. Damon Tull, who supports me in every way imaginable. He is just a fantastic husband. And so Damon, honey, thank you very much for all the things that you've done. I appreciate you and I love you. May I ask that any teacher, staff member, or student who was here at Plainfield High between September of 1982 and June of 1986 to please stand. Thank you to all of you for providing an atmosphere and an environment for learning. Thank you for support in the hallway, and I still see the image of Mr. Hicks in the hallway when I walk through. Thank you for your support in the offices and in the classroom. To my teachers, thank you for instilling in us a love and a pride for Plainfield. Thank you for letting us know that we were just as smart as, if not smarter than Westfield High. Thank you for training us to compete and excel. Thank you for being our champions and reminding us that race or ethnicity was not a limitation. That we should hold our heads high in competitions like Model Congress. And that we were prepared and that we could win. And yes, we won often. Thank you so very much. Thank you to my peers, my classmates. Some of them are not able to be here, but I've heard from many of them. And we see a lot of drama on TV today about high school. Gossip Girl was one of them, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, what kind of show is this? People experiencing bullying, as Leslie Anderson said, we see that often now. And many young people today often feel disenfranchised, alone, scared, and isolated in high school. And I thank my peers, I really thank my peers, for letting me do what I came to do, for cheering me on, for supporting my endeavors, and for little things like letting me know that I would be okay if I got a B. As I did here and there. As I told a classmate recently, I later got lots of B's as I studied engineering in college, but I was able to bounce back later. And so I thank all of the students who were here in any grade during those times, 1982 to 86. A special thanks, though, to my class, the class of 1986. We were the Hands Across America class, and Mr. Marsh may remember when we went and we all stood around in the big Hands Across America where people were holding hands all over the country. We had school spirit, we exuded community engagement, and we left in 1986 with a desire to contribute to society. So kudos to my classmates from the class of 1986. We're now teachers and principals and lawyers in the armed forces, business owners, on the police force, first responders, professors, civil servants, fitness experts, coaches, and more. Kudos to the class of 1986. So fast forward Thank you. Fast forward to where I am today. And I mentioned this because I really want to talk about how I'm a product of Plainfield High, and I haven't done any of these things without the support of all of you, and so I stand on all of your shoulders. I've had many experiences, but I'm a product of Plainfield High. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in electrical engineering and a PhD in speech science, but I'm a product of Plainfield High. I've been a professor, a program director, and assistant dean, and I'm an associate vice provost now at the University of Maryland, UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC, and a liaison to the Chancellor's Office at Universidad Metropolitana in Puerto Rico. I'm a product of Plainfield High. I have chapters in books and articles in engineering and physics magazines and journals. I have the honor of leading initiatives for women and underrepresented minority students in Mexico, Panama, Alaska, Puerto Rico, all over the United States, but I am a product of Plainfield High. And now that I'm asked to discuss policy with the National Science Foundation, we discussed the imposter syndrome, which was based on Clancy and Imes' work, where women and underrepresented minority students don't raise their hands in class. They don't think they belong in institutions of higher learning or accelerated classes because they don't see enough other people who look like them or have people to support them in the classroom. But I now work to challenge that and to defeat manifestations of stereotype threat brought to light by psychologist Claude Steele, a phenomenon by which students underperform in class because teachers and professors, some of them, immediately assume that they can't progress. We didn't have that at Plainfield High. Our teachers told us that we were going to progress and be successful. I now train students to build their skills in STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and math, to plan to excel, to visualize success, and to walk in their God-given purposes and pursue their dreams. I am a product of Plainfield High, and so now I can do no less than to work to elevate others. I can see hidden talent in others. I look for those gems of brilliance that they can't see. After all, didn't somebody do that for me? Didn't my teachers do that for me? Didn't my family, my community, people in my church do that for me? They told me that I would succeed, and I believed them. I've carried that confidence with me, and I've asked God to guide me, and I endeavor to share with others all of the wisdom that has been shared with me. My current university tells their scholars, to whom much is given, much is expected. And this was a quote by John F. Kennedy, but it was based on a passage in the Bible in Luke chapter 12 about the servant. And so you have given much to me, Plainfield High, and I in turn continue to pledge to give back. Is that not expected? Next week, I'll speak at the U.S. News STEM Solutions Conference in Austin, Texas, and I'll tell them that I'm a product of Plainfield High. And I thank you, all of you, for this honor, and I'm so, so proud to be an alumnus, to be a cardinal, to be a product of Plainfield High School. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Another round of applause for Dr. Renetta Garrison-Tull. We're going to ask Latifah Stembridge to come forward to induct her sister Tamika N. Stembridge, Esquire, into the Plainfield High School Hall of Fame.
Good afternoon. This was not planned. I wasn't supposed to, introduce my sister. However, it is an honor. All her accomplishments are listed in the program. It's too much to even say. What I will say is she has done a number of things and have a number of things planned for her. I know in her future. One of the things that I admire about Tamika, she's one of those type of people who, if no one can do it right, she's gonna do it. And she doesn't wait for anyone. However, she does openly offer her services, her time to anyone who needs it. Although there's only 24 hours in a day, she makes it look like it's 72. But I honestly admire her. I don't know what else to say. In the program, she graduated once, graduated again, graduated twice in one day with a number of different honors and things of that nature in her name. But I truly, truly admire her. She's one of my biggest role models. We both graduated from Spelman College. She graduated from Rutgers with a JD, MBA, all those other letters behind her name. I really honestly don't know what to say because she has done so many things. She's worked with New Horizons and mentoring a number of individuals, leading them to college and a number of other things. So I mean, like, I'm really at a loss for words. But without further ado, Tamika Stembridge. Good afternoon, everyone. I am normally not one to talk about everything that I do unless it's on a dance floor and I've had more than a few glasses of champagne. And when Martin called me or sent me the email about being nominated for this prestigious award, I declined because I've only been out of high school for 14 years. I've only been out of college for 10. I've done a lot, but I still feel like there's a lot more to be done. So when he called me, I was like, you know, I really appreciate it. It's an honor. But, you know, I think I'm going to sit this one out. I have a little bit more to do. And he said something to me that really resonated that I don't normally think about. And my uncle nominated me. And he's actually at the barbershop right now, which is why he's not here, to introduce me. He called me last night. He said, you know, it's Father's Day weekend. I can't let the community down. People need haircuts. I said, okay. All right, I got it. But Martin said, you know, sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes it's not about how you feel about yourself. Sometimes it's not about what you think your journey should be. It's about what people see in you and what they think about your journey. And it touched me because my uncle's never been to any one of my graduations. My grandparents are here today. My mom is in Texas. My dad is probably at the barbershop too. But I don't think about the things that I do in terms of my family or what it means to everybody else. I just kind of go and do Tamika. Not in a bad way. I give back. A lot of the kids that I mentor are in the room right now. But, you know, I do a lot of what I do behind the scenes, if you will. So if you have this bio, keep it because you probably won't see it again unless somebody else nominates me for something. I'm just not that kind of person. I'm very humble about what I do. You know, I'll put Esquire on my name because it's something that I didn't plan on, that God gave to me. So I take it very seriously in that matter. But, you know, it's not about me. So today, being here at this podium right now isn't about me. It's about what it means for my family to be the first attorney in the Stembridge family. You know, it's about... It's about just being a role model for all my little cousins and my sisters and being here for my grandparents who, some of them didn't even finish middle school, you know. It's about everybody else. So I want to accept this award before I start crying and my makeup starts running and my outfit gets messed up. I just want to say thank you. It's an honor. I'm really non-traditional. You know, I've done 1,000,001 things. Like I said, I've only been working for 10 years and I just looked at my resume. I've had 10 different jobs. Simultaneously, some of them. But, you know, I've done a lot and I appreciate it and I appreciate being honored, but I will say this. For the future, just keep watching because my name will be up in lights. I won't put it there. Hopefully the work that I do will be deemed, you know, recognizable for other awards and accomplishments. And I thank you guys for your time.
Garrisons, move over. This is a talented family. Last year, Latifah got one of the Tiffany Corbett graduate scholarships because we not only give scholarships to students who graduate this year, but our model is different than everybody else's, and I'm telling you that right now. We try to give scholarships at least 4 years backwards. Because the difficulty is not always getting into college, the difficulty is remaining there. So we need to provide more economics for the young people. I'm going to ask the third all-time winningest football coach in Plainfield history behind Abe Smith and Hub Stein, Mr. Clinton Jones, to come forward to induct and introduce Darrell Kennedy, the all-time leading rusher and scorer in Plainfield football history.
Everyone. Martin, Mr. Cox, he told me to keep this short, so I'm going to keep it short. Without further ado, Darrell Kennedy. Just kidding.
Watchmen! Watchmen! I got it! Watchmen! I got it!
Just on the kidding note.
I got something.
Now, Mr. Randy Young, stand up, please. Now, these are two of the greatest athletes
come through Plainfield history. Now, I shouldn't share this story, but I will because it's funny to me. These two young men had a wager, one on all week, who would choke up and be nervous when they come to this mic. I'm like, I've known Randy, you know, I'm not from Plainfield. I know Randy playing against him, coming out playing against the Plainfield team. I've never known Randy to choke up at anything. Now, I don't know how Mr. Kennedy is going to do it when he get up here. But Randy, I got my money on Darryl. Now, you heard the music when Darryl came up, Super Bad. He was a superhuman football player that I had the pleasure of coaching for 4 years. Okay, 2 as an assistant, 2 as a head coach. In all my years, I've never seen him nervous about anything. He played at the Meadowlands in front of 15,000 Thanksgiving Day against Westfield. And nothing fazed Darryl. You know, I meant nothing. So I walk up near about 11 o'clock or whatever. He sees me in my office. He says, Coach Jones, I'm nervous. So, but this is a moment where you can't get nervous, and it's okay to get nervous. Because I tell all my athletes, every game that I coach this young man, I was nervous. And the reason why I was nervous, I was hoping Darryl can carry out the game plan. If Darryl carried out the game plan, we were very successful, and usually he carried out the game plan. So, without further ado, Mr. Darryl Kennedy, Plainfield's all-time leading rusher. Can't say anything else about this young man. Without further ado, Darryl Kennedy.
How everyone doing this evening? It's a blessing to be here. Yes, I'm nervous though. Very nervous. This might be the nervous thing I ever did in my life. Football field, you know, I got a helmet on, so I don't get that nervous. Nobody gets in my eyes. But first off, I want to give thanks to God. They say to pray, anything possible. Right? My parents, they're my backbone, everything to me.
Yes, sir. Randy won the bet.
Y'all know I was a team father, representing my junior year. And my parents said one thing to me: as long as you go to school and do what you got to do, behind you 100%. And that's what he did. And I keep on talking about them all day. But my brothers, without them, I wouldn't be standing here either. Because my brother Dwayne, he stuck by me on everything. Good or bad, he always took me away. My son DJ, my little ones, my girls, they're my heart. They're my soul. They keep me going every day. There's so much I can say right now, but I just can't get it out. But it's gonna hurt in a minute. But yes, it's a true blessing. This is an honor. But this plaque right here today, it goes to our teammates that I have for 4 years here at Plainfield High School. And it's a big honor going in to one of my teammates, Anthony Davis. But it's also, this plaque means it's for the community too, because y'all stuck behind us 100%. And we couldn't win no games without y'all. And every moment I stepped on that field, I played my heart out. I threw my body around like I had another one in the closet. But thank you again, thank everybody. My hats go off to everybody who was up here nominated today. And thank you. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
For some of you, it's been an extremely long day. It is so common for us to run somewhere and do something in the fleeting time of a second. But I will tell you that the stories that were told today, the life stories that were shared by brothers, sisters, teachers, mentors, mothers, friends, you can't rush progress. God chose one city to be the birthplace of public education in the state of New Jersey. The only two institutions older than Plainfield educationally in the state of New Jersey, Princeton and Rutgers. You're standing here, or sitting in your case, for a purpose. Each day, there are young lives that we can choose to help, or we can continue to opt out and not help. In 23 months, this organization, without a dime in federal, state, or municipal funding, has given 100 scholarships. This is not about us, this is about you. I run the Alumni Association, I'm kind of the historian, I kind of wear a lot of hats. And people say, how many hats can you wear? Y'all know the family I'm from, I have a very big head. I can wear a whole lot of hats. But I need to talk to you for 2 minutes before you go about the rest of your day. We've written 145 checks to 42 organizations off of a single $65 ticket. All right. The difference between me and some of you is I believe in miracles. So I pray today that someone said something to touch your heart or soul today. You don't have to give through the Plainfield High School Alumni Association, but it is our prayer that you will give to someone in Plainfield, because we're all connected. It is not by accident, and the history teachers will bear this out as we come to a close. The old Plainfield High School is built on the site of a cemetery. Why would I bring that up in such a joyous occasion? If you study the topography of the land, you see that part of it is raised and part of it is excavated because they ran out of money. Isn't that so common in government, no matter what generation? But I tell you that to tell you this, and you saw a couple people come to tears, nearly tears, about their grandparents, parents, and individuals who are no longer here. I'm probably the only one who gets every story from the individuals in this room. And I'm not the only one who's dealt with this. But in spite of the obstacle, okay, in the PHS alma mater, it says, whatever the conflict, we'll carry it through. In my family, we've buried 5 people in 11 weeks. Unheard of. So some people believe there should be 500, 600 people here. It's a miracle I'm here. Yes, yes. But I will say this to you in closing as I bring this to a close. Believe in someone. Love someone. Assist someone. Because as we go through this journey called life, we don't know who's going to have to help us. Medically, physically, we just don't know. I stand here today, and Charlie Cole and I had this conversation. I had an older brother who chose a different path than I've chosen and my brothers chose. And he fought the dreaded disease. But he said to me as I was his caregiver, and this is about to close, you guys, Martin, you're in the newspaper, you're in Washington, what will your legacy be? He died Thanksgiving weekend of 1998. We reconfigured this on January 1st by 1999. It is not by accident. In February of 2000, our mother passed suddenly and unexpectedly. Our first Hall of Fame class was in 2000. And I don't tell you this to put my business in the street, but I tell you this because this is the final message. We ran it from 2000 to 2004, and we spent $43,000. If you don't believe it, you didn't run an organization before Facebook. We would send out over $4,000 a year in mail alone. We paid the copy, we did all those things. We gave scholarships and didn't have a dime, but I believe in miracles. We ran it from 2000 to 2004. I had 3 children in college plus my wife. We stopped from 2005 till 2010. This is a true story. If you've never believed anything I've ever said, believe this. My brother died in 3 years ago, almost to the day, my baby brother Sean, okay, stood at the grave and the coffin would not go into the crib. And this is not about tears, you guys, this is about the story. I stood at the head of the coffin with the minister and I said, I'm gonna bring it back. It had nothing to do with him. It had to do with us. E pluribus unum. It had to do with us. We've got to decide today what we are gonna do to help children. In every generation, naysayers have said, it can't happen. It won't happen. And I stand here today to tell you, it happens every single day in Plainfield. We just don't celebrate it enough. So in closing, I thank God the Father for the blessing of getting each and every one of you here safely. We pray He returns that blessing on you as you return to over 11 states. Please remember, to whom much is given, much is required. God bless you. We're going to put on the electric slide. You're free to stay. Spend a little time with your friends. Eat the dessert. But I'm asking all of the inductees from this year before you leave to please come forward and take a group photo. All of the inductees. We thank you. We love you. We'll see you June of 2014 and keep making a difference in someone else's life.
filled with many people.
Some of us are good, not all of us are evil.
Able to make it through the hardest times.
Through all the violence, through all the crime.
Driven to be the best, always prevailing.
Our talents and intelligence keep us from failing.
Keep your heads up, strive for God's healing.
Refuse a life of games, dropouts and drug dealing.
Always first, can't stand second place.
We rise to unite, regardless of race. Plainfield's finest, we won't bow down. Embrace a bright future, our time is now.
Just